in Ridgewood. We are joined again today by our principal, Dr. Gorman, for the final, for this year at least, the final version of our Maroon Faculty Series, interview series. We're going to most likely pick it up in September, but Dr. Gorman, welcome back.
Well, it's good to be here, guys.
You had the most hits, I believe, on our YouTube. You're the leader in the clubhouse right now.
I've been getting a lot of hits. Yeah, you're right.
I apologize if you hear a baby in the background. That's just my my baby boy here. He's joining us. So, Dr. Gorman, as we approach mid-June, end of June, how are you holding up? How's everything going? Just give us a brief summary.
It's been crazy. You know, I just put an end of the year message together for the staff, and you know, I started off. You know, COVID was one thing, and then all of a sudden the budget gets defeated, and then we have the protests, and it's just one hurdle after another obstacle after another. We're getting zero guidance from the state about how we can open up school in September. So we have multiple plans. We're trying to do that while we're trying to close out the year, and of course. For the senior parents and students, they know that I've put out 6 graduation letters, and my 7th graduation letter will be coming out next week. Things are so fluid, and you know, it's been so crazy. We just need to end the school year, then we got to get to graduation, and then we can focus on next year. But I just want to thank everybody. Everybody's been so great. The community, the teachers, the students, the administrators. It's been so wonderful how well we've done during this whole pandemic. So thank you for everybody.
So, you know, I think it almost goes without saying how great the staff has been. As you were just saying about the teaching staff, the admin, you know, I know other schools that simply just said they're not doing a graduation. And so the fact that you've come out with now going to be your 7th plan to make it happen for our kids is really a special thing. And, you know, you mentioned all these events that have occurred over these last few months, all being these tremendous hurdles, as you said. All those things aside, you know, what do you think is your biggest takeaway from these last few months? Is there one thing or a couple of things that, you know, are just highlights for you?
Yeah, you know, the Wall Street Journal just put out an article yesterday and said the virtual learning has been a failure. And they gave all these examples nationwide of why it is. And a lot of it has to do with poverty and lack of internet connections and a lot of preparedness and stuff like that. And I said it in my first interview, and I say it again. We were totally prepared, and things have worked. Now, it's not exactly the way we want it, you know, but the kids have still gotten a quality education for these past 90 days. So that's the one takeaway. The other thing is, like, we're on the right track. We're on the right track with teaching our kids, moving them forward. I just put out my letter yesterday or 2 days ago about how we teach civil rights, about genocide, about Holocaust, because people are saying, like, you're not doing enough. And of course we could always do better. Of course we could always do more. But we do a lot. And I wanted to highlight, and that was just a highlight of the things we do on an annual basis. So again, it shows that we are teaching our kids and preparing them for the real world. And our teachers are doing an incredible job. But the biggest takeaway from this whole thing, it just shows you how important schools are and that connectivity that we have with students and teachers. It's all about them coming together. I think teachers' values have just skyrocketed. You know, teachers are more valuable than ever before. And I think people who have taken educators for granted have truly realized how important that is. Yes, you can learn online. Yes, you could go through MOOCs and all the other things, or you could read independently. But it's not the same as having in-person learning. And I think that's the biggest takeaway we've learned so far.
Dr. Gorman, obviously this is going to change the world in many ways this the past 6 months. Where do you see the future of Ridgewood High School?
You know, we've survived for, you know, this will be the 125th commencement. I think we've been around 128 years since 1892. So we're going to survive. We've survived the first pandemic that happened in the 1918 and so, and we're going to survive this one. And we're going to learn lessons from it and move forward. It's the teachers and educators and students have learned how to work in a virtual environment and make that better. But we also have 3 plans in place right now, and we're going to fine tune them all summer. We're coming up with a whole playbook about what September is going to look like. So we have the one in the virtual environment that we're in right now, a hybrid, which will be like, half the students come to school and half don't, and then flip-flop them and some kind of variation thereof. And then, of course, in-person learning, which is the traditional way we always do it, but with a lot of modifications with kids wearing masks and maybe one at a table or something like that. We do have some challenges. We have an old building. The core building is 100 years old, narrow hallways, small classrooms. So there's only so much you can do. In some of the newer wings, we have a lot more room, but we're going to have to figure this out. And we'll be following what the CDC says and what the State Department says and everything, and we'll make it work. But this is going to require a lot of flexibility on a lot of people's parts.
So now that we are heading into the summer, and you've been putting a tremendous amount of effort into all of these plans. What do you think you're looking most forward to this summer? Just on a personal level.
Yeah, we were talking about that. You really realize how much you miss. And I said it the last time. I would love to just go to a restaurant and just hang out there. But I would love to travel. When you're told you can't do something, you want to do it more, right? And that's what our teenagers do all the time. Yeah, but I would love to travel, but those are just not realities right now. So my wife and I and the family, we're probably just going to be staying home a lot, just visiting friends, staying in the backyards, and really what life's all about. Family, friends, and staying in that core right there, as opposed to anything really extravagant or something like that. We're just going to roll the punches this summer, but just to slow the pace down a little bit and get ready for September.
This is usually such an exciting time of year for our seniors and for all our kids and our students, and just kind of having that, that wrap up time where you kind of tie everything up. What's been your proudest moment, and do you have any in the last 2 months, and any messages for the seniors as they move along next fall?
Well, I mean, overall, like I just said before, I'm just so proud of our community, the students and the teachers, to make this all work. I know it's not easy. We've had counselors and some great advisors go to people's houses, sit on the porch, and talk some kids through it. We've had a lot of people reach out, and the mental health that we're worried about with a lot of these kids, we're just so much more advanced than a lot of other places to worry about these things. So I'm so proud of what our people have done to help everybody through this crisis. And that just shows you how caring and dedicated and professional our community is, and our educators, and what they're willing to do. So I'm extremely proud of that. And of course, the seniors, I'm just so proud of them for rolling with all the punches. I know that they've been crying and upset about each graduation letter I send out, but they've accepted it, and they realize what's going on. And luckily we're able to hold the graduation on July 8th. Now the government has lifted a lot of the restrictions, so we're moving forward. But a lot has been taken away. A lot has been taken away from all the students, and it's very difficult. That we're all going through this grieving process and this loss. But there's also a lot of great things that have happened. I know a lot of teachers and students have gotten tighter. A lot of relationships with students have gotten tighter because now they're relying on each other more in the virtual world. They still worked their butts off all year. The seniors still deserved and earned a graduating a diploma and graduating from the school. So there's still a lot of takeaways that are excellent for a lot of these people, although a lot was sacrificed as well.
Yeah, I think you bring up a great point, that there are some things to be grieved that were lost. But again, as we were saying before, I think one thing I've come to notice is how this school community really rallied together. So I think we're about ready for a little lightning round. We're gonna ask you a few rapid fire questions again. So
it always makes everybody nervous. Yeah, let's go.
All right. So, all right. Favorite childhood TV show?
I used to watch them all. Everything from Batman that was on back then, or Hung Kung Fooey, or something like that. I'm dating myself.
The Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah, but I always loved they used to have Tarzan and the Abbott and Costellos on Sundays and things like that. But also, when we used to come home from school, you'd have the 4:30 movie, and everybody would go home and watch, whether that was Godzilla or whatever was going on. So those 4:30 movies were always great for all of us.
Favorite car that you ever owned?
I That's a tough one. I have to go back with my Pontiac Ventura 2, which was I think it came out in 1972. My parents gave it to me before they threw it in the junk heap. So that was my first car. So,
favorite book that you're looking forward to reading?
That's a good one. I actually just ordered several of them. One of them was Stephen King's The Stand. So I ordered that. I just want, but then it came back. It's like this thick. So I'm like, all right, that's gonna take me a little while. But I ordered a couple of them. I'm flipping through right now. Joseph Campbell's. He did a whole interview with I think it was Bill Moyers about mythology. So I'm reading about that and how it resonates. And actually, it's very timely because he's talking right now in the chapter I'm in is all about rituals. And if you think about rituals, weddings, bar mitzvahs, but graduation ceremonies, all these rites of passages that are so important to us. So what I'm reading right now is actually resonating a lot of what we're going through and why people are going through these grieving processes, because you're not going through these rites of passage that you've earned.
If Dr. Gorman has any time at night to watch TV, what's he watching?
I haven't watched much, but I just finished the Grant series on the History Channel. They had a little mini series. They had one on Washington. They had one on Ulysses Grant. He was such a great president, and they are crediting him as being the first civil rights president. If you think about it, he freed his own slave that was given to him way before anybody would ever think about that. And then when he was a general, he was telling the Southerners they could not hold on to their slaves anymore after he conquered them. And then further on, when he became president, he was really trying to reconstruct the South and really put things in place to ensure that the blacks back then were getting their voting rights and everything. So it was a really good miniseries.
That's awesome. Dr. Gorman, I just want to say thank you very much for taking the time for this interview, for the second interview to help us bookend the closing of the faculty interview series. I want to thank you for all that you've done over the course of this time. Maybe I'll even say on behalf of the staff. I'm sure people are sending emails and things like that, but just to say how much we appreciate what you've done, and really I'm looking forward to the graduation ceremony for these kids and how you guys can make it special for them. So thank you very much for doing this.
Thank you. And I want to thank you guys. It's been incredible. This has been such an uplifting thing for the community and for the students and teachers. You guys have you just took this on your own, and I really appreciate that. And we're hoping to continue this next year. You guys are a big success, and this is going to go viral. So great job. We really appreciate it.
Take a long weekend in July. You deserve it. A little vacation.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it.
All right.
We'll see you soon.
All right.
Thanks,
Take care. Thank you.
Take care.